the Peugeot 3008 GT, the top of the range of the 3008 line, SUV line that is, and this is probably like the nicest Peugeots you've ever seen on the road. The Peugeot 3008 GT is the one with all the bells and whistles, and yeah, so far I can say that this is probably one of my favorite cars thus far, obviously within its own price segment of around 650,000 rand, of course. So it's not really a cheap model car. It goes for more or less the same price as the Audi Q3. Anyway, if this is your first time watching, my name is Fakir and welcome to my channel. Now, as you can see, you've got double exhaust pipes at the back, you've got a reverse camera, you've got a camera in front to actually look at your obstacles, and then also you've got cameras on the side to give you that aerial view when using your reverse camera. And other than that, I'm gonna tell you that this car reminds me of a Range Rover, an Evoque. And I mean, I can say that, however, it's definitely not that because of that price, but it feels just as luxury. It feels like you get all of your bells and whistles for an incredible price, 650,000 rand, and you get so much of tech in this car. Now, looking at the exterior, and I'll pay attention to that before we get inside. Now, as you can see, the car has a lot of the shark-like kind of tiger-like lights, especially look at the slanted LEDs, and you can see the design is very edgy. It's very edgy, and it's a very modern looking car. It's very smart, and you know, everything except the on the exterior is basically standard with the GT model, so you don't have to pay for any of the trims, but you do have one optional cost which I actually felt that this car needed, but it didn't have it. It was just for the review, I guess. But you can actually add on optionally the sunroof, and that would make this car exquisite, already above what it is currently, which is pure luxury. The car, as you can see, has the roof racks or the roof rails, and yeah, I think you can see that it seems a bit compact, but I mean, it's not. I don't think it is compact in the least. The 3008 GT definitely doesn't say no to anything when it comes to luxury. You can see them from the outside, especially in this charcoal grey color, which I absolutely love. This car definitely looks premium and doesn't look cheap at all. Now, the GT model has the biggest wheels of them all. The GT model has 19-inch alloy wheels, and it actually gives you 219 millimeters of space. So yeah, suspended space. So I mean, that's definitely, the car is not sitting very low on the road. And yeah, so I would say that the car is pretty attractive. It's not your biggest car. It's kind of big, but in a small way. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Evoque, and many a times, I'm sure if people have seen me on the road, this car is still an eye catcher because it's not an Evoque, but it's definitely an attractive looking car, and it's more unique because you don't see many of these on the road anyway. Now, looking at the internals of the car, let's talk about the speed. So this is a 1.6 turbocharged engine, and it is a petrol engine, and none of them are in diesel this year. So previously, or in other models, you do get a diesel in the SUVs for the 508, but the 3008 GT comes in petrol, 1.6 litre engine, as I mentioned, and it is a 6-speed automatic vehicle. Now, I can tell you, you can definitely feel that punch of the turbo when driving this car, and it's an extremely smooth drive, especially from the driver's cabin. But I can tell you that passengers, aka my father-in-law, told me that the car, when sitting at the back, it did feel a bit kind of loud or noisy. Anyway, regardless of that, you've got 121 kilowatts of power and around 240 Newton meters of torque. So this car is definitely packs in a punch with performance. Now, looking at the interior again, the red luxurious seats is definitely something super sexy. I mean, these seats are extremely comfortable, and not only comfortable, but I mean they are very, very attractive. You've got a large console, as you can see in the driver's cabin, and then apart from that, you've also got a cubby, but that's quite weirdly designed. It's really big, as you can see, but also the way it drops onto the passenger seat is really not quite practical. Along the cabin, you can see that you've got your new kind of gear lever, and the gear lever, as I mentioned, it is automatic vehicle, but you've got these buttons, and these buttons basically unlocks the car from park to reverse and drive, and you need to activate that when changing gears, whether to reverse or whether in reverse or drive. Now, yeah, if you are like kind of getting used to the car, it does take if you're new to it, it does take a little bit of getting used to, and yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's not really train smash, but I guess it's a nice safety feature. And then looking at the navigation system, you get this beautiful infotainment system, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of buttons. So the top silver buttons goes for your music, your aircon, your navigation, which is built in. There's also built-in Wi-Fi, which I always have to turn off for the microphone frequency interference, but yeah, so hopefully, like, it actually went off because I couldn't find the switch, or the options are kind of, I would say, a little bit complex compared to your normal infotainment systems. You've got your vehicle settings, your phone, and your apps. This also comes with the My Peugeot app, so you can basically monitor and track your services, and yeah, to basically register your car and get all your tech details, of course. And then the bottom section of buttons, you've got your heated seating on both seats, as well as your locking and auto lock. You've got your electric motors on the outside as well, before I forget that. And you've also got on the driver's side, now looking at the steering wheel, it's kind of small, and you can see that the digital cluster is absolutely stunning. It really is. It's basically reminiscent of a screen. It's a complete screen, and it's very mono, so it's basically one screen, and it's very seamless, I must say, because it's kind of, yeah, it's very interactive. You can switch, you can change it from a minimalist look to the dials, or you can even switch to navigations, and that's all simple on your steering wheel. Wow, on your steering wheel, as you can see, you can just change your navigations and change that settings on your steering wheel. Now the steering wheel is set quite low, and at first when getting into the car, you see this small steering wheel, you'll think like, what's up with that? But it sits perfectly, and you can lower it just so that you can have a better view of your digital cluster. So because of this beautiful screen and the built-in navigation, you've got your road signs, so it can actually tell you about the road signs. And mentioning that camera when I spoke about the exterior, you also get these alerts that say obstacle close, not optical, obstacle close, once you reach your vehicle. And yeah, I especially enjoyed the cruise control, because this car has cruise control, and once that's activated, it actually decreases and increases your speed dependent on whether or not you are close to that obstacle. So that's super impressive. I haven't used it in a car before, and I just found that the cruise control was extremely easy because of that obstacle proximity sensor, as well as the camera basically detecting that obstacle in front of you. Now looking at the back, you've also got your ISOFIX, and you've got a cup holder, and there's an adjustment or array of adjustments for the seatings of this car, because you can fit a lot in. If you want to fit in a broomstick, as you can see, you can remove that cup holder at the back, or the armrest, and then you can actually clip down and move some things in the boot and halfway in the front. Then on the front passenger seat, you can actually tilt it completely down, and then completely tilt the back seat down, and you've got that 2 meters of space. Now that 3 meters of space, and I think it's actually just above 3 meters. It's approximately 3.2 meters, and I mean that's a large space. So if you want to pack in your surfboard, because after all this is an SUV, or if you want to pack in a mini fridge or a single bar fridge, you you definitely have room for that. So that's also quite impressive in this of this car. Now looking at some of the more techie features, like I mentioned, the Wi-Fi and things, one of my favorite techie feature in this car is that boot sensor. So that boot sensor actually is an automatic tailgate, and yes, you can activate it from the Peugeot keyless remote, as you can see, but you can also activate it by the swipe of your foot, and you just simply slide your leg under, or your foot under the tailgate or the boot, and you actually get to open the boot automatically, and that works the same for closing the boot. Now, looking at the boot size capacity, you've got 591 liters of boot capacity, and that is very, very sizable. And now, with mentioning all of that adjustments and the different seating ranges or arrays of seating arrangements, anyway, you actually can get up to 1,600 odd liters of entire storage, with the seats down and the front seat as well, down the passenger front seat, and that is quite spacious. Anyway, moving over to the front of the vehicle as well, with regard to technology, you've got this amazing feature of the massage. And yeah, you know, people want massages, you know, quite often nowadays. You're working from home, you want an escape, and you bought a 650,000 rand car. Why don't you have a massage parlor in your car? But for me, it's quite a pity that it's only on the driver's seat. As you can see, you activate it on your right side of your vehicle, and both the driver's side or the driver's seat is automatic for the seating adjustments. But I must say that you can actually, what's cool about this massage thing is that you get the feature or thing, whatever you want to call it, because it actually can resemble a cat. As you can see, you've got an array of options as well. Array is the word for this review, but you've got an array of options to actually choose whether you want the lumbar kind of massage, or a shoulder technique, or if you would like it as a cat paw. Now, the cat paw is my favorite, and you can switch that between high, medium and low, or low, medium and high, whichever one you want to choose. But definitely it's a fun thing to have, especially if you are on the road for a long time. And yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a cool feature, I would say. And then before we end off, I just want to mention that you also, I would say that this car is not too hectic on, or too heavy on fuel consumption, especially looking at the South African economy. This car goes for around combined consumption of around 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So that's pretty good, or pretty decent for what you would expect. And especially considering that this is a turbocharged vehicle, and also considering it's a 1.6 petrol engine. Yeah, there's 53 liters of tank capacity, if you are wondering about that. And yeah, overall I would definitely say that this is one of my favorite cars, and not to also forget that it really tries to pack in almost every single feature for the value that you are paying. It also includes 3 driving modes, with your normal, your speed, or your sport, or your eco, and I've been driving on eco, and so far I would say that it is pretty decent. But it's a pretty decent drive. It's a solid drive. It's more than what I ever expected. It's my first Peugeot, and I'm definitely looking forward to driving the next one. Now, there are focal, if you are into sound, there are focal tweeters within the car, and when you navigate between the sound settings, you'll also see that there are focal settings, there's a focal icon for those speakers. And I must mention that the sound in this car is pretty good. I mean, you driving different cars, I can definitely say that there is a different kind of sound in this car, and you know, sound is quite important, especially to quite a few people that love to play their jams, and this car is definitely gonna play your jams for you. So 3008 GT, Peugeot 3008 GT SUV definitely screams quality. It's luxurious, leather seating, LED lights, you've got automatic tailgates, you've got all of your switches, built-in Wi-Fi, a wireless charger, which I didn't mention, wireless charger, as you can see in the front. And I mean, what else would you want in a modern day car, a SUV that's luxe and top of the range? I absolutely love the SUV. If this is your first time watching one of my reviews, I hope you like this video, and don't forget to click subscribe and follow me on all my social media handles. Until next time, I'll catch you in the next vehicle.